So why do you think your association staff and volunteers and other stakeholders aren't hearing you on generative AI adoption? It might be because of the approach that you're taking to your communication. Now, communication, when you look at what drives success for generative AI adoption, is the number one opportunity. And relying on what I've seen many association leaders do, one channel alone, like let's say sending out memos with emails, doesn't really cut it. You need to have clear multi-channel strategies that build up clarity and trust for staff who have different communication preferences. Some, for example, staff and volunteers prefer face-to-face or at least virtual meeting opportunities that are synchronous to explain things, clarify things well. Others prefer to engage with materials at their own pace. So they prefer written text updates or maybe video messages or audio messages. Others would like a centralized hub, like a wiki of FAQs of information that they can go through. So not something that's in their email that they get, but something that they can themselves visit and dive in depth into. Also, you want to not have one style of communication. Just instructions aren't very helpful. Examples and case studies are going to be helpful for some people. Stories, especially from your association or from association just like yours, are going to be helpful for others. So you want to really empower staff and volunteers to improve transparency and reduce confusion. And you want to do so by following these techniques. Another thing I've seen a problem with is mixed messages. So inconsistency across different channels where people write one thing and say another, and yet there's a third thing in a webinar being said. So you want to have clearly unified messages. That strengthens trust, that improves transparency, and the repetition of key messages across different channels promotes understanding. People, on average, when you look at the research, need something like 7 touch points to really get a new idea, a new message. And so that's something you really need to be thinking about. Have consistent communication that helps keep people aligned, and repeat till it seems like, oh, you've heard this 100 times. Well, other people haven't, and they're not really paying attention to it when they hear it the first time or the second or the third. You need to foster two-way dialogue. So it's not only you repeating information, it's also you hearing from your staff, from your volunteers and your members to the extent that you're engaging with them. Have live Q&A sessions in person, by webinar, to enable real-time clarification of issues. Do surveys and focus groups to address concerns and refine messages. Have discussion boards that help create collaboration around generative AI learning and share insights. Of course, have some anonymous feedback opportunities so people can tell you what they really think. That inclusive dialogue helps build buy-in and trust. Multi-channel approaches is what will help address skepticism effectively. You want to highlight real-world benefits in your town halls, in your video, and your messages, and make sure that you act on the feedback that you get in these town halls, also from the anonymous feedback surveys. That will help you make sure that you are communicating effectively and that your staff and volunteers are feeling heard. I'll tell you about a case study that I worked with. A client that's a national insurance association that wanted to roll out AI tools to enhance credentialing as part of member services. Initially, the staff and volunteers were skeptical. Staff feared that they might be displaced. Volunteers were worried, chapter leaders especially, were worried about learning new workflows that would be confusing for them when they were already comfortable with the old system. And so the association hired me to help. What I started with is surveys and focus groups about their concerns. So having some anonymity was very helpful. Then we made sure to have transparent messaging to address staff and volunteer concerns about autonomy and job displacement. We highlighted benefits, like videos showing generative AI reduced credential processing times by 40%. And we made sure to communicate that we're not going to have anyone's job be done away with, that if the time spent is reduced on credentialing, that time will be spent on better member services. Over time, engagement improved with 85% plus of staff reporting that they appreciate the benefits of these new tools and that they are using them. And member satisfaction rose greatly, with 92% praising the new system as excellent on a 1 to 5 scale. So, thinking about the key takeaways for you as an association leader, poor communication is a big, big red flag for generative AI adoption. Have multi-channel strategies to enhance understanding and engagement with clarity and consistency across all of these channels to build up trust. Have two-way dialogue to foster inclusion and make sure that you respond to people, not only say that you heard them. That communication is what will help you bridge the gap between innovation of generative AI and impact on your association. Make sure to subscribe to the channel wherever you checked out this video, and email me with any questions at gleb@disasteravoidanceexperts.com. That's GLEB@disasteravoidanceexperts.com.